Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am Channie, and today we're watching Casual Geographic again, and this is the psychotic hunting habits of Satan's favorite birds. Birds, plural. Oh, okay, I think it'll be about multiple kinds of birds that are bad. We've concluded that eagles will be there, but since it's birds, multiple, I'm guessing maybe falcons as well? Not sure, possibly, but let's find out.
NANI?
Ah, oh my god. Sorry, that was loud. It jump scared me.
That's what I said.
Slick back. So pretty. Hey, hey.
You see this nest? You want to know what built this nest?
What?
You don't want to know what built this nest.
Yes, I do.
You want to know what made these bones? You don't want to know what made these.
Whoa. What is that? What is that?
This
What? How dangerous? Wait, do they put all birds in these like kind of shackles, or is this one just a really bad one? Is this a really bad bird? Because they harpy, owl, vulture. All right, vultures are. I should have said vultures in the intro. A harpy. I don't know what a harpy is. I'm sorry, YouTube. Please don't jump me, okay? I don't know animals. Please, please. Okay, a harpy. All right. Let's see how much we'll learn about harpies today.
This bird's a buckbeak coated me to my mental stability. The harpy eagle's a homicidal hypocrite for the jungle's census on its hit list. And a big reason is harpies having the largest claws of any bird. Not only do they have vice grip talons that could comfortably dap up a grizzly bear's paws, they say getting gripped by them is like getting caught in a Rottweiler's jaws. They're the national bird of Panama, but you finna be pantomiming once it's giraffe.
That's them? Is this a harpy too? I've seen this clip in a different video of his, no? And I hated it. It looks really creepy. That's a harpy?
Jurassic reject takes your breath by crushing your windpipe, but by far the most out-of-pocket thing is what nature went ahead and did with their wings. Unlike most birds in size, harpy eagles have relatively short wings. I'm talking about if eagles were the NBA, this would be their build. But the short wings just means this life unsubscription service can duck and weave through the dense jungle to catch a body. Which also means there are very few things alive in the Amazon that a hunting harpy can't pack up, from monkeys and sloths, to armadillos, snakes, and porcupines, to other predators like ocelots and foxes. They'll also body other birds like parrots, and they'll even
Guys, we're in danger.
Other raptors like vultures. But then, what even is a raptor? The answer might just surprise you. Raptors are what most people might call birds of prey, which is already a problem because there's plenty of other birds that'll have you preying. So the raptor title gets gatekept to the birds with all three: a sharp hooked beak, a Jurassic-style pedicure and talons, and an OP sense of sight. So without a hooked beak but webbed feet, the demonic garbage chute misses the cut. Chronic Crash Out the Canada Goose doesn't sit at the raptor lunch table because if it did, it probably would have seen that coming. But the whole raptor thing's a pain in the prostate, and it's because raptors, they're basically cats that can fly. You remember the cat video I made and how insanely convoluted the names
I didn't watch that one yet. Wait, don't spoil, please.
got? Like how a black panther isn't actually an animal, a cat called a panther isn't actually a panther, a snow leopard is genetically close.
No way. Snow leopards mentioned. We up bigly. Let's go. Context to YouTube. I'm rebranding to a snow leopard. So snow leopards up by 1.
Isn't actually an animal, a cat called a panther isn't actually a panther, a snow leopard is genetically closer to a tiger, and how a cougar pushing 220 ain't a big cat, but a cat barely a $110 is. Raptors are low-key the same, where the name raptor doesn't describe a family reunion, but like Black Panther, raptor is more like a description. But I'm gonna get to that. Now the other problem with raptors is that
What is that? Something is moving in the water.
nature basically bamboozled them. Of course, the ability to fly is broken, but it comes with hollow bones. Now, hollow bones aren't to keep the bird light enough for flight. It's more that pneumatic bones are filled with air and so give extra oxygen to fuel their flight. But it also means a broken bone is a career-ending injury for an avian, and as hunters, they run the risk of getting folded by their own prey. The compromise is, raptors have some of the most heinously creative ways of confiscating consciousness, revoking your existence. Whatever you want to call it, the bird of prey hunting strat is straight out of the pages of a mob boss's torture diary. And we can start with the secretary bird, aka Jurassic Park in yoga pants, named after the fact that, like a secretary, they'll connect you to the big boss upstairs if you give them the chance. They cancel prey by kicking them in the head.
They're so pretty, dude. Look at the feathers.
Like a secretary,
look at the
they'll
colors.
connect you to the big boss upstairs if you give them the chance. They cancel prey by.
And then some of them look like they literally like this looks like eyeshadow. Like, okay, queen, slay. Watch this be the males and not the females too. I don't know. I feel like birds are so confusing. Like male birds, the way they try to mate and gain attention from female birds is just so fascinating. Like they be doing the most. They are always showing down and showing out. Love that for them. But yeah, would love to know if this is what all of these birds look like, or just the males. Like the females also look like this. They be stomping. Yeah, they like stomping.
Kicking them in the head until they flatline or just lie flat, and their usual
Stomp, stomp,
targets
stomp. Oh
are
my
snakes.
god,
The
they're
combo
getting
of
curb
delivering multiple
stomped.
kicks in the time it takes to blink, and how disrespectful
It will rip your throat open with its kick. To humans too? They seem kind of tiny in comparison to other
they are. All adds up to a 6-piece serpent
Oh my
assault
god,
where they
look at
spam a
the
river dance
tail,
on a
it's
snake's
so
skull
pretty
until it
too.
caves in, leaving the snake out of order like a reptile dysfunction.
Bro, I
You gotta
think you
hand
got
it to
him.
them. That's pretty metal.
They're so pretty, bro.
Actually, you should do the opposite, since the Kung Fu crane can apparently shatter the bones in a human hand. And it's not just snakes. Secretaries will go after things like cheetah cubs and baby gazelle. I think now is a good time to mention they can be an honest 4 feet tall, with a thigh gap no less. As you can see, they're liable to violate snakes and beauty standards, all while being one of the few birds with 2 pairs of wings, no Red Bull. This high-stepping battery charges with all the smoke, literally, because they'll gather around brush fires just for the opportunity to murk any small animal running for its life. Don't let the pretty privilege distract you. It's an African assassin chicken and thigh boots dressed
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the pretty privilege of it really did distract me.
like a recently divorced mother of 3. And they're not the only ones, because I'll be honest, I low-key forgot this bird existed. This is a Seriema. It's basically a Latin secretary bird, but the real family tree flexes they're the only living relatives of terror birds. Yes, those terror.
Forus racidae, also known as terror birds. Interesting. Are not peacocks. Are ostriches also related to this family? I wonder. I'm just because I'm looking at this like size and I'm like, ostriches are kind of close to this.
Terror birds. They might be less vertically gifted at less than 2 feet tall, but instead of kicking, Seriemas rather body slam their prey to death. The
They
dinosaur
body
time forgot
slam?
will grab prey.
Oh my
and
god, did it just hit its beak on a rock?
kicking, Seriemas rather body slam their prey to death. The dinosaur time forgot will grab
Oh, okay. I think it slammed whatever it had in its mouth towards that rock.
prey and slam them
Oh,
into the
that's
ground or against a
crazy.
rock repeatedly. They'll spam
my
suplex
God.
as many times as it takes for the bones to break. And if you're too big for all that, they'll use the same sickle claw their prehistoric cousins used to hold down prey and disembowel it alive. So if you get targeted by a Seriema, you'll either get the Hulk to Loki treatment, except from a travel-sized terror turkey, eviscerated and violated while pinned by a weaponized toenail, or just swallowed clean like a
my
Vorophile's
God.
wet dream. So far, we have a curb-stomping aggro bird and a mob boss build and terror bird final form. And we're just getting started. This is a kite,
We're just
or
in the
you ask.
beginning.
This was named after the bird, not the other way around. The kite is like the forgotten little brother of eagles and hawks, and like a kite, they catch bodies by hovering above the ground and waiting for movement so they can swoop down and snatch it. I believe kiting is the expression. They're pretty cool. They grief many of the insects that make life slightly less worth living. The 17-year cicada parade is basically their Super Bowl. Like the secretary bird, they too will gather around grass fires, and any animal trying to run from the smoke gets ironically cooked. But Australian black kites take it a step felony by carrying burning twigs and dropping them on patches of grass. An activating
Wait.
arson
They carry burning twigs? Huh.
step felony by
Interesting.
carrying burning twigs and dropping them on patches of grass.
Isn't
An
there a
active
risk
avian
that they
arsonist
would
got
also
them
get
another name,
injured with the burning
firehawks.
twig though?
Apparently this is nothing new, with records of them
For many Australians, the bird's use of fire isn't news. Rangers in northern Australia take these animals' ability to perpetuate fires into account when managing fuel load into the ecosystem, Bonta said. Modern anthropological records of firehawks distributing flames to capture prey dated back to 1963, Bonta said. Who's Bonta? Ding dong. When a book described raptors snatching brands from indigenous cooking fires. What are brands? Are brands like branches from indigenous cooking fires and disposing them into grass up to half a kilometer away? Wow.
stealing brands from indigenous cooking
Interesting.
fires and dropping them half a mile away. There have even been scientific records of them dropping bread into water to bait small fish, and if it wasn't for this clip, I probably wouldn't believe it.
Ooh, that was insane.
Water to bait small fish, and if it wasn't for this clip, I probably wouldn't believe it. You'd think an aerial arsonist airdropping.
For such a small brain, birds can be super smart. They are. Like, they're literally arsonists. They're like, yeah, let me just take this tiny burning twig and drop it a kilometer away to start a fire so I can get more food for myself.
Inferno in a country that has up to 60,000 wildfires a year would immediately get blacklisted. But no, black kites are protected because once again, of course a felon with wings is above the law. They're also banned in Boston, but only because we all know Boston can't stand the heat. Now I have a whole video on owls, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But this is the start of what I was talking about, because you'd normally expect a raptor to be related to other raptors. Instead, the owl's closest relative looks like a Muppet flashlight.
Whoa.
Flashlight? What does that? Oh.
What? Did he just... You know what? I should stop questioning.
Well, I can't say that. Owls are predators on incognito.
Well, you just did.
Feathers that allow them to fly almost completely silently. Again, you don't realize how unsettling that is till you go to bed a family and wake up a single mother. They also have a satellite dish for a face and uneven ears, so even under a foot of snow, they can hear exactly where you're about to go. Owls are 100% the closest thing to cryptids with wings, and while they haven't murked people, allegedly, there's plenty of predators that do feed off unsuspecting humans, just like you, including arguably the worst predator of all.
Oh god.
Data brokers. There's a lot of data brokers that feed themselves by collecting your personal information and selling it to the highest bidder. Now, your head would spin. Kind of like, wait for it.
Oh
yeah, there it is.
My
That's
god.
what it looks like to get folded by a falcon. You see.
Question. Have you guys seen the clip of I Show Speed in WWE? When he got body slammed? That's what it looks like, bro. That's what it looks like.
Falcons are cool, but they're weaker than eagles and hawks, so instead they commit to the fastest hit and runs on Earth. Literally, the fastest. So falcons like the peregrine will start up high and dive. It's called the stoop, and once the flying derecho hits triple-digit miles per hour, they'll ball up their feet like a fist. So yeah, they really do falcon punch their prey in the past tense. Didn't even give them time to duck. Not only that, but falcons also have a toe mule tooth made specifically to snap spinal cords and send prey to the Lord like Sunday service, all while flying. The one-shot specialist has been known to snipe bald and golden eagles threatening their nest. And there was one time a snowy owl murked a falcon fledgling, so the mother falcon went and life-deprived the owl. There's a lot of ways falcons are built for speed, but the biggest flex is that they have the fastest processing speed of any animal alive. Compared to us, they see the world in slow motion. Falcons are dope, but because of them, we have to address the whole raptor thing again. Because instead of hawks, eagles, or any other bird of prey, the missile with wings is most related to parrots. So again, raptor isn't a family name, most of them aren't even closely related. But there are a lot of falcons, like the American kestrel. I like them because they're pretty. Small.
They are pretty.
The colorway ain't bad either.
But I mean, they're pretty too. They're small and pretty.
Kestrel. I like them because they're pretty.
Look at that color.
The colorway ain't bad either. They also factory reset prey by stabbing them in the back of the head with that tooth, but you can't deny this psychopath's cute. The black-thighed falcon is really the smallest bird of prey.
Kestrels are cute as heck.
In the weight class of a sparrow, yet they also find a way to pack up other birds.
Oh my god.
The pygmy falcon is a nest pirate that often shacks up in the home.
So fluffy! So cute!
Of weaver birds. Normally it's a good gig with the pygmies clearing out snakes and lizards, but sometimes they'll switch up and kill their weaver bird roommates, so there's that. But there's another falcon that might just be the biggest bird off of all, and it might also be the most underrated. Next to that is the Caracara. The Caracara is a black Air Force parrot. Unlike every other falcon, they'd rather handle business on the ground. They live on honey badger timing, since they'll pull up to a carcass and bully bigger vultures out the way. The crested Caracara is a special kind of klepto. They'll straight up mob other birds like pelicans and press them into vomiting their lunch so they can have it. Striated Caracara.
Ew! They make them vomit their lunch and then they eat that vomit. Ew! Brother, what's that, brother?
And the falcons are a Pennywise level threat to minor safety. You know, raptor comes from the Latin word to seize or take by force. That's what this avian Amber Alert lives by. Caracaras will also link up with each other and form gangs and have honest-to-God turf wars. Even back in the day, they were on Darwin's radar. In 1830, he mentioned how curious they were, but also how annoying it was to live around a bird that'll steal anything that isn't nailed down. Turns out this affiliated delinquent of a bird is low-key the gifted student of the raptor class, and is even smart enough to solve puzzles for fun. Basically, Caracaras are if the peregrine falcon and the secretary bird had a baby. creepy, but it was adopted and raised by crows and tutored by the key on weekends. Just an overall underrated menace of a dinosaur, but also a hyper-intelligent, talented opportunist. Actually, I take that back. Vultures might be the most underrated. People assume something with the feeding habits of a casket is a pushover, and they do get their cookies taken by other raptors. But vultures very much can be about that life too, especially since black vultures often won't wait for an animal to expire. They'll put weak, sick, or young animals on a shirt. Some farmers know all too well. Sometimes they'll wait for a cow to give birth just to jump the newborn and return to sender. Sometimes they won't even wait. They'll move on a cow in labor and act like the world's most malicious midwives. Getting violated by vultures means eyes gouged out, tongue torn off, and they'll even break through the back door. Basically the booty warrior of birds, but unlike Boondock.
Excuse me, the what? The what now?
Torn off, and they'll even break through the back door. Basically the booty warrior of birds, but unlike Boondocks, this one's protected by law. From a surgical psychopath to a scavenger. Yet a bearded vulture eats almost nothing but bones, and they've even been known to swallow ones nearly a foot long. But once in a while they'll go after the living, sometimes in the form of airdropping a tortoise hundreds of feet to feed on the insides like a piñata. You know, mountain climbers were so spiritually disturbed by the beardy, they call it the bird of Satan. To be fair, they have a square ring around their eyes that fills with blood when stressed and makes their eyes turn bloodshot when running a fade. The Grim Reaper's working with a whole showering gun activated. I don't blame him, that is demonic character design. Also, a bearded vulture allegedly murked a man with a turtle shell to the head like Mario Kart, which sounds fake, but keep in mind, there's a woman walking around with scars from breaking a porcupine's fall. RNG can be a real ad. All that, and you still can't show me a bird with the harpy eagle's aura. We already mentioned a life-canceling claws that could probably crush your skull, which is why harpy eagles have a prey list of over 116 species. And that includes putting other raptors like Seriemas and vultures on shirts. But don't think for one second nature came out with this and stopped there. The African crowned eagle is basically the harpy of the motherland. Same survival-revoking claws, and same short wings to make it a menace to monkey kind. They're the only raptors who allegedly see people as prey, with reports of human child remains in nests and the infamous tongue child
remains?
packed up by an
Human child remains?
Honestly, any continent outside of Penguin Land has at least one of these eagles. Australian wedgetails go after kangaroos and dingoes, and their territory will enough to fade $1,000 drone on site. There was one time a wedgie fought a helicopter and won, past tensing a pilot in the process. R.I.P. The North American golden eagle has a hit list of prey in the 400s. But really their claim to fame is how they'll give goats a first-class flight to the gulag with no return trip. I'm sorry, this is so disrespectful. Look at
why are they dropping them like that?
That's how they'll give goats a first-class flight to the gulag with no return trip. I'm sorry, this is so disrespectful. Look at this animation. He gave him an NPC death, gave him nothing but time to reflect. There's the Philippine eagle, which honestly mogs the out of everyone for no reason. But there might not be a bigger flex than the stellar sea eagle. You know, if this wasn't on camera, nobody'd ever believe you. It's one of the heaviest eagles on Earth with an 8-foot wingspan. It's an oppressive force in Featherface that's apparently been seen carting off seals. Clearly the meteor told them to take a sick day, cause dog, you're not telling me that's not a dinosaur. And low-key, they might go the same way. For all the harpy hate I was talking, there's no recorded case of a harpy eagle killing or even attacking a human. In fact, it's them not being afraid of humans that can get them put on a shirt by poachers. Add habitat destruction, and if raptors like them aren't endangered, they're at least in danger of being endangered. Which is why you got places like the Raptor Trust in Millington, New Jersey, looking after all kinds of birds from Ollie the kestrel to Virgil the turkey vulture. They got couples too, like Mariah and Thor the golden eagles. They're mad cute together. And of course, the symbol of America, Colonel and Uno. Uno because of the whole one wing thing. And even though they're technically not raptors, I even met Ray the Raven. You know what's crazy? He's in a cage, and he's in a relationship with another wild raven. Like, he'll even sneak food between the bars of his cage for her. You know what's crazy? His girl has a whole nother family in the wild. I usually don't rock with home wreckers, but I'm rocking with Ray. But like I said, my favorites were definitely the owls, especially this barred owl named Sunny. I think he liked me. Although the vulture's gotta be a close second, since they'll literally walk up and follow you around like a puppy. Oh, this isn't sponsored, by the way. I just had a good time and wanted to shout them out. So if you're ever in the area, the Raptor Trust in Millington, New Jersey, 100% recommended. But that's gonna do it for this video. Drink water, hug your mother, get that. Shout out to Incogni for sponsoring this video. Shout out to the Pigeon Paralysis Demon for sponsoring Imagination. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
With the baby. Alright, so that was the psychotic hunting habits of Satan's favorite birds. It was a lot of birds. But it was all about raptors, right? Yeah, it was all about raptors. Apparently not all of them are really related. They're somehow related to other birds, but the raptors, I don't know. A bit confusing there, but very, very, very informative video. A lot of birds were covered. Did like the harpy one in the beginning. I think it looks super cool, but also super creepy. I don't know. It kind of depends on the clip they show or the the picture they show. Some looked really cool, some looked super creepy. Then there was a secretary bird, very, very extravagant, very slage, very batty. But also, I don't know if it's all of them that look like that or just the male ones. So do let me know in the comments, please. And which one? And then he also mentioned owls were mentioned. Owls are cool. And eagles and falcons, of course. Vultures. I generally didn't know there was that many types of eagles. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was shocked the more he mentioned them, and I was like, whoa. And they all look like so unique too, but like still had that like eagle type look, so it was interesting. Which one did I like? It was like a tiny one. I think that was some sort of falcon. It was this one. Hold on. Here?
Closely related. But there are a lot of falcons, like the American kestrel. I like them because they're pretty.
Yeah, this one, the kestrel. This one is really pretty. And it's super tiny and cute in the mirror. I like it, Picasso. But yeah, that was Satan's favorite birds. They're all very, oh my god, I don't know. They're just, they be plotting. Inside that little head of theirs, the little brain they have, it's just, they plotting. Oh, also another thing that was interesting, the ones that take the branches of fires and cause fires to get like food, or the ones that like camp around forest fires and not forest fires, what are they called? Wildfires. That was crazy. I didn't know they were that. What's the word? I can't even think of the word, but they're just very, I guess, hands-on. Like they want food, they gonna get food no matter how or the way. They just gonna do it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube.